Did an Israeli Iron Dome rocket strike a soccer game in the Golan Heights portion of Israel? So this is going to be a quick one. I'm still in a hotel room in Sydney, Australia right now, but I'm coming back to the US today. To start, I have to say there will be two versions of this video. There's the version I'm going to have on ryanmcbeth.substack.com and the version I'll have on YouTube. If you're watching this on YouTube, this version will be heavily sanitized. The uncensored version will be on Substack. I am at the point now where YouTube is essentially demonetizing everything I upload. The video I made the other day, which was about conservative Twitter whitelisting, which is essentially a programming tutorial, that got demonetized. I made $6 on YouTube for 12 hours worth of work. That's right, $6. At this rate, I could make more money as a cashier at McDonald's than I can as a YouTube content creator with almost 1 million followers. So if you're watching this on YouTube, head over to ryanmcbeth.substack.com. Consider joining for $5. And if you're watching this on Substack, thanks for supporting me. Ever since I quit my day job, I'm like one Substack paycheck away from homelessness. Anyway, there was an accusation that an Israeli Iron Dome interceptor landed on a soccer field in a mainly Druze neighborhood in the Golan Heights. And this killed about 10 people and wounded roughly 20. Israel claims it was a Hezbollah rocket. Hezbollah claims it was an Iron Dome interceptor gone awry. Specifically, the accusation that the Iron Dome interceptor went awry came from Suleiman Ahmed, who basically spends his entire day lying on Twitter. I seriously don't know how this guy sleeps at night, but we'll get to why he's lying in a moment. Now, there is a video, so let's take a look at the video, and note that you won't see this video on YouTube because YouTube. Okay, so one question I got on Twitter was whether an Iron Dome rocket could make an explosion like that, and I don't think so, but let me explain. As a general rule of thumb, from pretty much any guided missile, a third of the missile's weight is in guidance and flight control, a third is in the warhead, and a third of the weight is in fuel. Sometimes on interceptors, that number is even lower. That number could be as low as like 10 to 20% in the warhead because you need to pack that missile with as much fuel as possible to get it up to speed. So like this isn't a hard and fast rule, but it's a good rule of thumb. It's a good way to estimate because you can't really cheat physics. So if an Iron Dome rocket is 90 kilos, then a rough estimate of the warhead is about 30 kilos or roughly 66 pounds. In all honesty, Israel doesn't really give out the specifications of its weapons, but I would say that the Iron Dome warhead is probably more like 10%. So we might be dealing with a 9-kilo warhead on that rocket because, again, these Iron Dome interceptors are actually maneuvering. It's one of the few interceptors that can actually maneuver, and you need to pack that thing with as much fuel as possible so that it can maneuver in midair. Now, let's talk about this warhead. The Iron Dome has a proximity warhead. We know that. That means as it gets closer to its target, it explodes in a bunch of shrapnel so that it can hit that incoming warhead. It has a better chance of hitting that incoming warhead like a shotgun hitting a sporting clay. So you don't pack a lot of high explosive into an interceptor with a proximity warhead, at least not enough to make a gigantic explosion. You need enough to kind of push that shrapnel out to create a cloud of shrapnel that the incoming warhead can hit. And then there's the other issue of self-destruction. Surface-to-air missiles self-destruct when they lose track. And they do this to avoid exactly what people think happened, to avoid this missile from coming down in a populated area and hurting people that it's supposed to protect. Now, there is a non-zero chance that self-destruct wouldn't work. As far as I know, there's only one video I've seen where this has happened. And in a case like this, where self-destruct doesn't work, the biggest issue is fuel, not warhead. You know, remember, packing this interceptor as much fuel as possible, it's probably going to be the fuel that detonates, not the actual proximity warhead, because the proximity warhead is made up of shrapnel, and you just need enough explosive to push the shrapnel out. Still, yeah, the Iron Dome has fired thousands of missiles over its lifetime of service, and I've seen one video of an interceptor failing to self-destruct. I think that's a pretty reliable system. So we have a missile that's not designed to explode with explosive force, and a missile with a good track record of self-destructing if it does go off course. And That being said, if I use ICD-203, which is a standard in the intelligence community for determining probability, I would say that it is unlikely that this is the impact of an Iron Dome missile. The Iron Dome's warhead just isn't large enough to make an explosion like that. And, all that being said, if we just entertain, just for a moment, that it was an Iron Dome missile that actually fell in the soccer game, why would Israel fire that Iron Dome missile? Well, it's firing that Iron Dome missile to intercept an incoming Hezbollah warhead. So if Hezbollah didn't fire any missiles into Israel, Israel wouldn't have to intercept them. And all of this stupidity could just be avoided. So maybe, I'm just spitballing here, Hezbollah, maybe just stop shooting missiles at Israel. Just tossing that one out there. Israel doesn't tend to strike first. They tend to strike when a bunch of crazy people indiscriminately throw missiles across the border. You can criticize Israel and their bombing campaign, but at least they give it the old college try to do precision bombing. Most of the rockets fired into Israel are fired randomly into civilian areas, and inshallah, it hits something. Israel uses GPS and laser guidance. Hamas and Hezbollah use inshallah guidance. Take a wild guess which is more accurate. And Suleiman, I want to talk about your soul for a moment. I am not the world's greatest Protestant, but I happen to believe in a life after this one. And I am pretty confident that on the day of judgment, I'll be able to stand before God and explain my actions. I'm the Kalam Arabic. I've studied Islam and I've read the Quran. Muslims believe that on the day of judgment, you will have to walk across a bridge over a lake of fire. The width of that bridge will reflect the deeds you performed in life. Make it to the other side and you enter paradise. Fall off that bridge and you will burn for eternity. Suleiman, you are a liar. How wide will your bridge be? I pray for your soul, Siddiqui. Thank you for watching.
In a world where fashion meets firepower, where style becomes strategy, it's time to gear up for the ultimate mission with Bunker Branding. Introducing the Rock Out With Your Chalk Out t-shirt, a tribute to the fearless air cavalry. Feel the adrenaline rush as you don the pride of the skies. For those of you who dare from the air, precision and power unite when you think outside the bomb. And don't miss our Live, Laugh, Launch t-shirts for Patriot and HIMARS, because sometimes defending freedom means bringing the thunder. Finally, for the true defender of the seas, we present Department of the Boat People. Sail with honor and show your allegiance to the world's mightiest maritime force. With these shirts, hoodies, and stickers, along with the tow missile, landmines, and drone warfare. These aren't just shirts, they're statements. They're your way of saying I stand for strength, unity, and style. Get yours at Bunker Branding today.